What's happening, everyone? I'm back, and today we are talking about what is going on with the KD sweepstakes. Where is Kevin Durant going? Well, there's been updates, there's been news. Sources have said this, sources have said that. KD's camp has said that he has his preferred destinations. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the Phoenix Suns, need to do what's best for their franchise, and they need to get the best deal available. Now, there's been so many different rumors. Houston has been thrown around. San Antonio has been thrown around. Minnesota has been thrown around. Toronto has been picking up steam lately. And frankly, as a Raptors fan growing up, I don't see how Kevin Durant to Toronto makes sense for the Raptors. I get that maybe they're thinking in their head about a possible Kawhi Leonard 2.0 situation. But really, the way I see it is, I think they're trying to find a way to get rid of the contracts that they signed their own guys to, like a RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. I think they have a little bit of buyer's remorse with those guys, and now they're looking at this as an opportunity to maybe get rid of those contracts, and it might cost them the number 9 overall pick. That's how I see it, because otherwise, there's no justification for getting a 37-year-old Kevin Durant to Toronto with Scotty Barnes and a whole bunch of guys that are on second year or third year careers. I mean, this is not going to be a championship team. Like, I don't understand how that will work out. Who's your point guard if you're dealing Manuel quickly? Now you got to find somebody else. So you're kind of mixing and matching pieces here and there. Scotty Barnes is going to be on a max deal already. So you would have KD with the big contract, Scotty Barnes with a big contract. And now you'd be counting on guys like Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, Jonathan Mobo. You'd be counting on these guys to essentially become your, Alex Caruso's, Kason Wallace, those kind of guys that I just don't know that they are. And if they are, I don't know that they're ready to be yet. So I'm not sure. We're going to take a look at a couple tweets here that I saw pop up. This is from Phoenix Radio. And these guys don't like the deal with Toronto, obviously, because they're saying that Barrett has a terrible contract, Quickly and Pirtle's better backup, all this stuff. But I agree with Sam right here. So Sam says, if the Raptors deal is the Suns getting Pirtle and number 9, the Suns should probably do that immediately. Pirtle's a top 15 center in the league, and you get number 9. Barrett's deal only has 2 years left if he's a salary match. And I agree with Sam. I think that actually is a great deal for Phoenix. I think if the Suns are able to get that, I think that's a great deal for them. I just don't know why that would be a great deal for Toronto. Again, I guess in that situation, you still have Quickly as your point guard. So you'd have a lineup of Quickly, Grady Dick, Scotty Barnes, Jonathan Mobo, and Kevin Durant or something like that. But is that a Eastern Conference Finals team? Like, I don't see it. You don't even have the 9th pick anymore because you traded it away. So, I mean, at that point, you're just kind of filling pieces here and there. So I don't know. The Spurs, I think, are being smart. They're not trying to give away too much for Kevin Durant. They've got a lot of assets, and they're being smart about it and taking their time with it, although some would argue that you don't take your time when you have a talent like Victor Wembanyama on a rookie deal still, and you should go all in right now. Houston makes a ton of sense because I do think that they have the veteran guys next to Kevin Durant. So obviously it depends what you're giving up. But if I'm Houston, that to me feels like the team that should be most, quote unquote, desperate to get Kevin Durant. Because if you watch that team play last year, really what they were missing was a Kevin Durant, a guy they could give the ball to with 2 minutes left and say, go score, go get us a bucket. They tried it with Jalen Green. That wasn't the answer. Fred VanVleet, frankly, just is not that guy. He's a great player, but he's not that guy. And they just needed offense. Everything else on that team said that they could make a deep, deep run in the playoffs. So I think if they get Kevin Durant, and let's say it's Jalen Green, some draft picks, maybe you have to give up, another Tari Eason or something like that. You could kind of take that hit. But ultimately, if KD goes to Houston, I think that's the team that suddenly elevates, obviously assuming they don't give up all of their young guys. But that team elevates, and you expect Amen Thompson to be better. So I think that Houston would be the best fit for KD. And then Minnesota, I think people just have jumped on the Minnesota thing because Anthony Edwards keeps saying that Kevin Durant's his favorite player. But ultimately, you have that scorer in Ant already. So yes, sure, it would be nice to have Kevin Durant there, but that team is close already. They have pieces there. And I just don't know that giving up too many assets. I mean, you know, the trade, obviously people think could be Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo and maybe a young guy like Rob Dillingham or something like that. But now do you have the point guard? Now Mike Conley's a year older, and Dillingham's supposed to be the guy to kind of come up behind Mike Conley. Now you traded him away. Again, you could go find a fill-in point guard here and there, but again, and Minnesota can't really make the deal until after July 1st. So the draft is over by then. So it's a very interesting situation. I have a weird feeling that if that's the trade offer that Toronto's made, Phoenix should just take that. And even if you think about a starting lineup now for Phoenix, where you're going to have Devin Booker, RJ Barrett, and Jakob Poeltl's your center, you get a number 9 overall pick. I mean, at that point, it's not terrible. Like, honestly, it's not terrible. I don't think that they'd be a contender, but Booker's a star. Barrett's fine. If he's your 4th best player, that's fine. Poeltl's a pretty good center. So I don't know. I just think, like, if you're Phoenix, I don't see why you wouldn't make that deal. But if you're Toronto, I don't know why you would, unless, you know, KD's probably not staying there past this season. Unless you're thinking you hold on to him and try to flip him at the deadline. If things aren't going well, and then you recoup some picks and some other players for a team that is desperate at the deadline and thinks they're a Kevin Durant away from that championship run. So it's an asset. It's a big time asset, but he's 37 years old. It's risky. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think Houston is the best fit for Kevin Durant.